went to bleeding races, 'twas on the 9th of June, 1862 on a summer's afternoon. I took the bus to Bamberley's and she was heavy laden. Away we went along Collingwood Street, that's on the road to bleeding.
You're watching TOON TV, welcome to the channel. This is the Burnley versus Newcastle United match preview for the game kicking off this Sunday midday down at Turf Moor. It's going to be an interesting game. There's a lot riding on this fixture for both Burnley and the TOON. Just before I continue on with the rest of the preview, if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 3,700 subscribers, less than 5 away now, and please help me get along to that subscriber base. I'm trying to push the channel forward as much as I can each and every week. Consider hitting that like button as well. The more likes we get, the better. It just helps the videos to get out there to the wider world. And down below in the comment section, let me know your predicted start 11s and your score predictions for the game on Sunday. On social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me on that and I'll give you a follow back. On with the preview. So we're taking on a Burnley side of Turf Moor where if we can beat Burnley, we can ease our relegation fears. That's only if Fulham drop points against Wolves on Friday, as they do play before us. If Fulham get a result against Wolves, then they could be out of the bottom three for 48 hours at least. But if I'm a TOON player, I wouldn't panic. I would basically just focus on the game in hand, and that is Burnley. Look at Burnley as a winnable game because we don't want to panic, because if the lads panic, then we're not going to win any games. And I'm looking at this fixture as a must-win, in my opinion. That's no disrespect to Burnley. Burnley know that if they win this game, they could be a Premier League club for next season. So there's a lot riding on this game. If we can beat Burnley, we will put them in the relegation picture. But it would all depend on the Fulham result, because if Fulham don't beat Wolves, but we beat Burnley, then we will go 6 points clear of Fulham, and Burnley will be 7 points clear of Fulham. That will give us a bit of a breathing space going forward, but we mustn't sort of let our guard slip. I look at Burnley, it's not going to be a difficult game. We only make it difficult if we're set up in the wrong way. Steve Bruce seems to downgrade the side's chances before we even kick a ball. So for me, it's a case of just be positive and go for it. Don't give much in the way of chances. I look back at the previous fixture against Spurs, we drew 2-2. It's a big result in terms of the form that we're currently on. I wasn't expecting anything from that match. You could argue that we should have got the 3 points with the chances created. Spurs weren't great, on the afternoon. But then, given the circumstances, going 1-0 up to 2-1 down against a decent side with quality players like Harry Kane, Son, Vinicius, then I'll take, that point. Joe Willock, who else scoring, against the rival, just to, add salt to the wounds for them in terms of the Champions League spot. But Burnley will be a different animal. They will be a side that will not give the ball away as much as Spurs did. They'll be in our faces. Sean Dyche, has Burnley organised. They've really improved, from the start of the season where they looked like real relegation favourites to the second part of the season where they seem to turn it around. Burnley have got a good record, at Turf Moor, and they beat us last season 1-0. If you remember, they got given a corner which wasn't, and the corner resulted in a goal which we should have defended better. We did take on Burnley at St James's Park earlier on in the season. We beat them 3-1, a deserved result. We went 1-0 up. Burnley pegged were back in the second half, and then we grabbed 2 goals and we managed to win 3-1. Could have been more in the end, and we didn't really build on that result, and that's why we find ourselves in this real relegation ding-dong battle with the likes of Fulham, West Brom now. And if you want to add Burnley and Brighton in that equation, then you could put them in there and say, we're going to be battling with them between now and the rest of the season, unless we can, start stringing results up. It's 2 wins in 21 games. You can't get away from that. And would I say the lads have turned a corner from the Spurs game? Nah, not for me, because we need to see what they're made of on Sunday. If we can grab 3 points, then I'll say, yep, we've actually learned something, from that Brighton defeat. Because, when we played against Brighton, that was shocking. That was not a Premier League side, wanting to stay in the Premier League. But then Spurs, there was fight. There was the lads, playing for the badge. I've always said, if you're not going to play for the manager, at least play for the badge. You're playing for your future. Because if we get relegated, there's no guarantees that you're going to be, playing Championship or even Premier League football next season. So the players now need to know and understand that their futures, are on the line, and that any bad mistakes, then it could cost them, in the long run. Now, Burnley against Newcastle is not going to be down as a classic. It's going to be a very scrappy game with plenty of mistakes, but there'll be plenty of opportunities. And Burnley, of course, will be wanting to get revenge after, what happened at St James's Park. But also, I feel like we need to get revenge on them after what happened at Turf Moor. I feel like we need to, try and put the wrongs right. But looking at our record, we need to try and get a win. It's been a few months now since the last time we won a game in the Premier League against Southampton. 3-2, a very controversial scoreline at the end when we went out in 9 men. We probably shouldn't have won that, so you could go even further back to the last time we won a game. We need to start winning games. That's what I'm saying. We need to start, getting the 3 points. Otherwise, if we don't beat Burnley on Sunday, for me, I feel like it's curtains in terms of our Premier League status. The momentum will be firmly with Fulham, and I don't want that to happen because I believe on paper we've got a good side. We've got players that are individually good, but it's all down to the coaches. It's all down to how, they're set up. And we just need to show the same attitude on Sunday like we did against Spurs. If we show that same attitude and we're clinical and we put our chances away, we have what it takes to beat Burnley. And I look at our defensive problems. That cost us 3 points on Sunday because we mentally switch off. I've seen it a couple of times this season against Crystal Palace where we went 1-0 up, a good strike through Shelby, and then a few minutes later we're 2-1 down. The same happened on Sunday. We need to cut that out because Burnley are that sort of side who, if they go 1-0 down, they'll find a way to get back into the game. And I don't want to see we set up 5 at the back. I want to see we play 4 at the back. I understand why Steve Bruce went 5-3-2 against Spurs. I don't like that formation anyway, but against the top 6 and the way they attack, I feel like that really frustrated Spurs in terms of how they were going to play their game. And we executed that very, very well and managed to get something out of that game. But against Burnley, who quality-wise, they're not Spurs, we need to play 4 at the back and we need to give ourselves that chance of being a threat. And if we're playing Callum Wilson, who is expected to be available on Sunday, he needs to receive the ball as much as possible. Alan St-Maximin will be expected to play a full 90 minutes. We know what he brings to the side, his energy. He will scare the living daylights out of that Burnley defence, and we know that Sean Dyche will have Burnley, defensively sound. He'll have them sound to a T, and they are very, very clinical. They've got a lot of threats as well, Burnley. You look at their side, you think, yeah, they're not blessed with massive names, but they have a togetherness. Burnley have players who can, turn the game on its head, who can, just bang in the goals and get the points. I look at their 2 strikers, Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood. They score goals for fun if you give them the space, if you give them the time of day. And if you don't defend properly like we don't, then it could be, a long afternoon because their goals have kept Burnley away from Fulham in terms of potentially being relegated after the poor start that they had. If the service is correct to them, then they score goals. That's what they're paid to do. And I also look at their young prospect, Dwight McNeil. He's technically a winger / midfielder. He can do both roles. I really do rate this lad. He's going to go far in his career. I can't see him staying at Burnley for much longer. I'm sorry if I'm going to disrespect Burnley fans in any way, but for me, I feel like he's too good for you. If you look at the goal he scored against Everton a few weeks ago, then for me, that was an absolute power rocket of a goal. And he's got quality and he will definitely walk into a top 6 side in the next couple of seasons. And he's a real one for the future in terms of international football. He's playing at the under-23s at the minute for England, but he'll definitely get that chance in the main side in the next season or 2. And I feel like this lad's got a real promising journey ahead of him in terms of where and what he can achieve, in his footballing career. And that's why, I rate the lad, going forward. He's going to be a real threat against us as well. He's got pace. He'll cut in a bit like St-Maximin, and he scores, goals out of nowhere. So we need to be wary of Dwight McNeil's threat. But in terms of Burnley defensively, the side who, as mentioned, will not give a lot in the way of chances. Nick Pope, we know about him. He tends to keep Burnley in games. He's, the England, you would say, current number 1, and he will not want goals flying past him. So we need to try and find a way of scoring goals and trying to put him off. But in terms of the actual game, I feel like it's who wants it most on Sunday, and fingers crossed it's our lads because we need, the 3 points. If we can grab 3 points, it's going to really lift the spirits around the camp going forward. We just need to focus on one game at a time, and it starts with Sunday. And I mentioned, last week it was 9 games where season starts now. We've got that point. Can we get 3 points this time against Burnley? So I'm going to jump in to my predicted starting 11 for the game on Sunday. Now, I'm going to go with the 4-2-3-1 as I always do, because I feel like it's positive, gets me forward, and it doesn't give much away in the terms of, conceding goals. Now, in goal, I'm going to go with Martin Dubravka. I felt sorry for him when he conceded the 2 goals against Spurs. I feel like the first goal should have been prevented. If he got given that call by Emil Kraft, then Harry Kane doesn't score, he doesn't equalise. And I feel like Kraft is more fault than Dubravka, but we need to see the communication. But nevertheless, I felt like when he was called upon, he made some fantastic saves, as we expect of him. At left back, I'm going to go with Paul Dummett. Jamal Lewis has not been getting picked in recent games. Paul Dummett, when he's played, has been very good. He was played more in a defensive role against Spurs with a 5-3-2, but I feel like if we go 4-2-3-1, he'll be played at left back. He won't get you in the opposition half, but he'll get you halfway up the pitch, but he will do the defensive work. Burnley will put us under pressure, there's no doubt about that, so we will need the focus of Paul Dummett. At right back, I'm going to go with Javier Manquillo. He stepped up against Spurs, had one of his better games, he was putting balls into the box, he was positive, he was defending very well, and I want to see more of the same on Sunday. My 2 centre-backs, first up, Captain Jamal Lascelles. I want to see him barking out instructions, I want to see him leading by example. He's been good in recent weeks. Same again on Sunday. Don't let your guard slip, and make sure that the players are getting forward, and make sure that you're keeping the defence sound and that you're defending when you need to. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Kieran Clark, who he just needs to go again, defend where he needs to, and he needs to communicate with those around him. And if he can grab a goal from maybe a set piece, then that would be important, because we know what's in his locker. When we get like a corner or if a free kick gets floated in, Clark can be that threat. Now, the 2 CDMs, first up, Sean Longstaff. He had a good game against Spurs. He got an assist. He set up Joe Linton to open up the scoring against Spurs. He was in the right place at the right time. He brings a lot of energy into our side. Steve Bruce has been picking him finally, and he's starting to deliver. He's a local lad. He knows what it means to battle for the shirt. Yes, he's not perfect, but he will get you forward, rather than what we've been seeing with Jeff Hendrick, where we've just been sitting back and doing absolutely nothing. But if he performs the same way like he did against Spurs, then he's got a real chance if maybe he's bagging a goal against Burnley. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Joe Willock, who will be full of confidence, as he scored against Tottenham in the 2-2 draw against the rivals, of course, being on loan from Arsenal. And he will want to go again. He'll want to score against Burnley. The lad is positive. He's full of energy, and we need to see the Willock that we're seeing against Tottenham. If he shows the same courage, the same enthusiasm, then he's got a chance of potentially grabbing, a third goal for the TOON in his short loan deal from the Gunners. At left mid, I'm going to go with Joe Linton. Now, for me, he had a good game against Spurs, but I'm going to drop him into that left mid position where I feel like he plays better. He can cut in, he can make something happen, he'll be full of confidence. I just want to see him score more goals. I want to see him, be around, the box, burst a gut like he did against Spurs. If he does that, then he's got more chances, of scoring more goals, which is only beneficial, for us moving forward. But he really needs to work on the good performance against Spurs, but do it on a consistent basis. On the right-hand side, I'm going to go with Alan St-Maximin. I feel like Steve Bruce will give him the full 90 minutes, and he's going to be crucial because he is lightning quick. He will cut in, he will cause that Burnley defence, an absolute nightmare. If he's not scoring goals, he's setting up chances for others, and he's going to be one of our main threats going forward. And in that number 10 role, I'm going to go with Miggy Almiron, who had a good game against Tottenham Hotspur. He was unlucky with a few chances, could have scored on the afternoon, but I feel like he's getting better and better. Keep him in that number 10 role, give him the service, and if he gets himself around the area where we need him, around the box, then if he's feeling like he's up to it, then he could bang in a couple of goals, and we need to see a little bit more, I'd say, from Almiron chipping in the terms of goals moving us forward. In that striker role, I'm going to go with Callum Wilson. He's going to be back into the side now from injury. There's talk that he could be available for selection. How we need him, how we've missed him. He's got 10 goals this season. Without his goals, we'd be in the bottom 3. That's 100% fact. And against Burnley, he will sense an opportunity to score a couple of goals. And if he can be in the right place at the right time, if he can grab the goals, if we can win this game, then it's really going to, help us, moving forward. We don't want to see Callum Wilson dropping in deep. We want to see Callum Wilson, be that threat that we know he can be, because at times he's been isolated. But against Burnley, I feel like he will get chances. But it's all about the service of ASM, Mickey Almiron, and Joe Linton, and those behind, the wingers, Sean Longstaff and Joe Willock. So that is my predicted start 11 for the game on Sunday. Now, Matt Ritchie, yes, he was man of the match, you could argue, against Tottenham, played ever so well, but I'd bring him off the bench maybe in the second half, see where the game's at, because I feel like Joe Linton and Alan St-Maximin, they play well together with Callum Wilson up front. Matt Ritchie, I can't deny how hard he works, but when Burnley start to tire out, if we need that bit added quality, then maybe bring on Matt Ritchie. And I feel like that side would be good enough to get a result against Burnley, 4-2-3-1. I don't feel like I would change anything else. If there's one criticism I'll give Steve Bruce, is he needs to make his changes a lot earlier, rather than like the 70th minute, the 80th minute. If it's not working, do it on the 60th minute. Give the players at least half an hour to try and get into the game, and give them that opportunity to create things in order to try and grab the goals. Because if we are changing things on 80th minute, 85th minute, we're not given that time to really do anything in the match, and you're just giving Burnley that go ahead of you're going to win the game, or it's going to end in a 0-0 or a 1-1 or something like that. But we need to be that sort of side that need to get at Burnley. I feel like we've got the quality. I feel like we've got a better side than Burnley on paper, but they've had a better season than us because they've got a sound manager who knows what he's doing. But in terms of a score prediction, I'm going to say Burnley 1, the Toon 2. So 2-1 to the Toon. We need 3 points. Hook or by crook. It doesn't matter how we play as long as we win this game, because if you look at the fixtures ahead, when we play the likes of Manchester City, we play West Ham, we play Leicester, Arsenal, it's not going to be easy. You wonder where the next points are coming from, and that's why it's important to play Burnley. I feel like they are the easier of the fixtures. We play Sheffield United and Fulham last games of the season, but I don't want to see those 2 games as being the crucial ones. I want us to get the job done in terms of get the 3 points on Sunday, get some points off some of the bigger sides, and then look to use the Sheffield United and Fulham game as not pressurised games. We can just play our own game and then maybe beat Sheffield United, draw against Fulham. And I don't want that to be the final day shootout, otherwise I'm really, really concerned. I want to see us home and dry, and then we'll prepare for next season. But I'm going to stick with that 2-1 Newcastle. I think anything less than 3 points for me is a disappointment. No disrespect to Burnley fans if you're watching this, but we need the points more than you do. And if we can grab the 3 points, and if Fulham lose, then we've got a 6-point buffer on Fulham. You've got a 7-point buffer, so it's not too bad. Yes, I understand why you want the 3 points, because you want to stay in the league for next season. You want that guaranteed. You want that sewn up. But we also need to be staying in the league with this squad that we've got on paper. But anyway, that is the end of the match preview. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. As said, I'm trying to get to 3,700 subscribers. And put your comments down below. Let me know your predicted start 11s and your score predictions for the game on Sunday. Follow me on TOON TV, Instagram and Twitter. Give us a follow. I'll follow you back. And until the next one, enjoy the game on Sunday. There'll be plenty of content coming out over the weekend, FIFA. And I will see you all later. How are the lads?
I want